Well, the 2017 snap election for the United Kingdom is now over, and what we have is a hung parliament, or what we in Canada call a minority government. Essentially, the Conservative Party now is the largest party within the government, but they do not have a majority. And already they're eyeing the possibility of allying with another party in order to give themselves a running majority. Now, the British voters have dealt Theresa May a very severe blow, a very devastating blow that was not expected for this election. Now, basically, it wiped out her parliamentary majority and throwing basically much of the country into a kind of political chaos. Now, the exit polls and partial results show that May's decision to call an early election in a bid to strengthen her position didn't happen. And in fact, she lost a majority government. There's been a decrease in the amount of power that the Conservatives are holding in the party. Much of that has been scooped up by the Labour Party run by Jeremy Corbyn. Now, even though many people have called for her to resign after this massive failure on a very large political scale, she has absolutely refused to do so and will remain on as the head of the Conservative Party. Now, this was a surprising election for a lot of people who had claimed that Jeremy Corbyn was unelectable. Well, quite the opposite was found. Although he did not win, his party got the second largest vote and was able to knock the Conservatives out of their completely dominant majority government position. So they've massively, the Labour Party has expanded a lot of the seats that they actually had, enough to knock the Conservatives down something fierce. However, the Scottish Nationalist Party was another big loser, who lost 21 of its 56 seats to parties that want to keep Scotland as a part of the United Kingdom. However, there is at least one good bit of news that, regardless of what side you're on, we can laugh about. UKIP did not get any seats. Now, a lot of you are probably familiar with an old video that makes fun of Nigel Farage. It goes, "My name is Nigel Farage, and part of my politics party, UKIP, as in you keep out of my country, you greasy idiot." Well, now we can go ahead and remix that to, "My name is Virgil Farage, and you should join my new politics party, UKIP, as in you keep out of Parliament because nobody voted for you." Yes, I'm well aware that Nigel Farage is no longer active in that way, but I think it really is a good feeling to be able to laugh at UKIP, considering how god-awful they were. Now, me for one, I actually did want to see Jeremy Corbyn win the election, because had he won, then all the First Worldists who were adamantly saying that they were socialists and communists, but for some reason voting in a bourgeois election to elect a bourgeois politician to give them the democratic reforms that they were looking for instead of revolution, rather than some kind of tactical voting. I wanted Jeremy Corbyn to win so that people would see what a bourgeois politician does. In other words, he would probably increase funding to the NHS, etc., and give all the goodies to first world people. But we would notice that nothing would change in terms of imperialism. Now, Theresa May have won, but it would have been more important for the movement in general for Corbyn to have won so that we could see how much of a difference it did not make. And a lot of people, really fought with me about this. They didn't like what I was saying about Corbyn. My point as a third worldist has always been, first world people do not want revolution. People who are Marxists will not even try to build revolution in the first world, and instead will submit to social democratic reforms. That is the third worldist position. That is exactly what has happened. The first worlders have been saying to me, yeah, revolution is not possible in the UK. Correct. It isn't. That's my point. That's the whole point of third worldism, is that revolution is not possible in the first world, because people, not just first worldists, but the people of the UK do not want a revolution and are not willing to do a revolution. this confirms what we've been saying, and that those who at least identify as Marxists are just going along with the social democratic system because it will give them all the reforms that they want. It will give them all the goodies, rather than dedicating themselves to building revolution where it can happen, and instead are just voting to give themselves a bigger cut of the imperialist spoils. And that is exactly what happened. Well, unfortunately, we're not going to see the true colors of Jeremy Corbyn just yet. We would have been able to find out that New Labour and Old Labour are pretty much exactly the same thing. There's a very big myth about the Old Labour, how it used to be better and it used to be this and that, when it was still a terrible imperialist structure. A big war, it carried out war crimes and carried out imperialism as well. Chris Grain has a very good video about that, debunking the myth of Old Labour. So if I suggest people go and see that. I'll link that in the description so you can go ahead and see it. But just to recap, Theresa May still in the lead with the most seats in Parliament. She lost her majority. The Labour Party boosted significantly, and nobody voted for UKIP, which is the funniest thing out of this whole election. So it seems that for the most part, given that it's very likely that the alliance between the Conservatives and the DUP, I think it is, or yeah, I believe that's the name of the party, will likely push the Conservatives into a majority, and we're probably going to see that things will proceed as they already have been, and that maybe at least some people will finally recognize that there cannot be any significant change under bourgeois democracy. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.